I can describe how war can help an economy. I can defend, criticize the U.S. government's reluctance to join World War I. And mainly in this video, or at least at the end of the video, 14 points. Wilson's plan for, hey, we're going to get in this war. This is what we're going to do. Yeah, okay. Let's see how that goes. Where we left off last video, the Lusitania gets blown up, even though the people were warned and the government tried to hide weapons on it. But nonetheless, the American people are irate. Now, again, it's not all of America, because a lot of America doesn't want to fight this war. I mean, the ruling class, the elite class, and then the sheeple. But there are people that are upset about this war because, heaven forbid you try to go on a vacation in a war zone. Imagine that today. If you want to go to, I don't know, we'll just use Syria. And you go to Syria and there's bullets flying around and you get shot, and then you expect America to go fight Syria because you wanted a vacation in a war zone. That's what we're talking about. You were warned not to get on the boat. You knew the boat was going to go through a war zone. You got blown up, and then America wants to get upset. Those innocent people, they not. What are we doing? So the Sussex ultimatum will take it even further. So we've got these ships getting blown up because it's a war. It's a war zone. The ships are carrying weapons. They're probably going to get blown up. Maybe we should all just chill out. And either, if we're going to get upset about it, just deal with it. Or maybe just stop sending ships over and stay out of it. Maybe be neutral like we say we're going to be. Anyway. So America's upset because another ship gets blown up, and the Germans don't know, right? The Germans are in the middle of a war. There's tons of ships carrying weapons all around, and they're blowing the ships up because they're trying to win the war. That's kind of what you need to do. They claim, whether or not it's true or not, they thought that the ship was a warship. Well, 80 people die, 4 of which are American. Oh no, 4 Americans die. 4 Americans died. Guess we got to go to war. Like, I'm sorry for those 4 people, but 300 million people, 4. 300 million people, 4. Anyway, well, it wasn't 300 million then, but whatever. You get the point. So America says, that's it. This is the last warning. You keep messing around, and it's not going to be good for you, Germany. And Germany says, well, we are going to keep messing around until you end the blockade. You are starving us to death. Your ships have created a blockade. We cannot get food. Women and children are starving. We're going to keep blowing up the ships until you stop. So stop the blockade, and we will stop blowing up stuff with our submarines. It's that easy. That easy. And the Germans agree. The Germans say, all right, we don't really want to do this. We don't want to kill innocent civilians. We'll stop doing it. Now, you just need to stop the blockade, right? Deal? And America says, nah, sucker. So they stop doing the U-boats, but we keep the blockade. We keep starving them. Now, from the military perspective is, yes, we're starving them, but we're also preventing Germany from getting weapons. Yeah, but you're also starving them, which is not something you're supposed to do. It's a war crime. You can't starve civilians. But hey, if we do it, then it's okay. But it gets worse. So Wilson is always taking this moral high ground. He has the whole moral diplomacy of, well, we're not imperialists, and we're not going to get involved in other countries, and we're not going to overthrow other countries, only to spread democracy. But, even though we're constantly sending money to one side, we're constantly sending weapons to one side, that seems like we're involved in one side. We're not stopping the war. We're not preventing the war. If anything, we are involved in the war. When we only help one side, you're involved in the war. How moral is that? Meanwhile, he still is saying, no, we're neutral. We're not going to go to war. You know you are going to go to war. You're only giving money to one side. You know eventually we're going to get dragged into this war. You've picked a side. That means you're in the war. But he won't admit to it. And he even goes a step further. After the whole Sussex situation, he decides, first president ever to do this, is start putting soldiers or Navy men on these passenger ships, on these cargo ships, and arming them, and also instructing them to fire first. Does that sound neutral? That sounds like it's a warship to me. That sounds like aggression. That sounds like an act of war. That does not sound like he's not trying to go to war. We're not going to go to war. Meanwhile, he's putting soldiers on ships, giving them guns. Well, they're just trying to defend themselves. They shouldn't even be there. What are we doing? And so, of course, the Germans are going to continue to attack. So eventually, we're going to go to war. Thankfully, finally. I've been going through this video. It's like, when are we going to get to the war already? One more thing. So the Zimmermann Telegram is pretty stupid by Germany. Germany thinks that they're going to convince Mexico to fight us and join Germany's side. And if Mexico and Germany win, Germany agrees to give this portion of America back to Mexico that they lost during the Mexican-American War, California, Arizona, New Mexico, and part of Texas. So, yeah, Mexico is like, thanks, but no thanks. Glad that you thought to ask us to get involved, but we're not really looking to fight America. Didn't work out for us the first time. Probably not going to work out for us this time. why don't you go ahead and do us a favor, Germany? Go ahead and lose that number, all right? Lose my number here. So eventually Wilson's like, that's it, we're going to war. And Congress says, whoa, pump the brakes. We declare war around here, Buster. And they do declare war. They have enough information. They have enough flimsy evidence. Imagine that. I mean, we're going to war because they supposedly did bad stuff to Belgium. They supposedly blew up some ships that were carrying weapons. And then they sent some message to Mexico, a little love letter to Mexico that no one really took seriously, but we're going to get offended by that. We're going to get offended. Well, you know what? What's a good idea to go to war? Because we want to have the right to travel around in a war zone. You're going to send the country into the brutalest, most savage war of all time because we want to travel through a war zone? Yes, that's exactly what we're going to do. And we did it. Now, Jeannette Rankin, the first female congressperson ever, said no. How about that? She's a pacifist. She stood up for what she believed in, and she was fired. Well, I mean, they'll get fired, but she was not reelected. Guess what? Here's the funny story. In 1940, she gets reelected, and she's back in Congress at the exact time that World War II breaks out and the attack on Pearl Harbor, and we're getting ready to go to war, and Congress has to vote, and she votes no again. Hey, you got to give her credit. She's principled. She's a pacifist. This is what she believes in. And this is exactly what happens when you vote against war. Do not go against the war in America. Good luck with that one. Good luck voting no and see how it works out. So you got to give credit. Jeannette Rankin is not in your textbook. She should be in your textbook. Let's do the 14-point plan. So Wilson's going to use this to justify the war. We're not going to go in to kill people. We're not imperialists. We're going to war for good reasons. Heard that before, and I'll hear that again probably. So here are his reasons. One, we are going to go to war because we need to stop all these secret alliances. We can't have this ever happen again. Fine. Well, can't we just do that after Europe blows each other up and we just kind of stay out of it? When it's over, we can just walk in and say, hey guys, maybe we don't do this alliance again. Didn't work out for you. Let's not do that again. And so he says, we're going to go to war to end militarism. All this buildup of weapons that led to this war, we're going to get involved, and it'll never happen again. Again, why not just wait for the war to end and then to blow up all the weapons they have? Or, you know what? Maybe we stop selling them the weapons. But either way, we don't have to go to war to end the weapons. Maybe we just wait for the war to end and say, hey, let's not do the weapon thing again. Or we stop selling them the weapons. We're going to go to war to make sure there's no more imperialism. Again, why do we have to get involved? Once they blow each other up, when they get tired of fighting, maybe we can convince them that, yeah, this imperialism thing's a bad idea. The submarines. All right, we're going to go to war so that we no longer blow up ships in the ocean. We're going to have safe seas. We're going to fight to protect the seas. Well, most of the seas in the world are pretty safe. The only place that the seas are dangerous is in the war zone. Well, we can go to war, or how about we just stay out of the war zone and we have safe seas? It's too complicated. Let's just go to war. And then no more tariffs because tariffs lead to rivalries, and the more rivalries we fight each other. And then last but not least, this big idea, which we'll talk about in the next video, is the League of Nations. When this is all done and we've all killed each other for several years and there's millions of dead bodies, we'll all hold hands, sing Kumbaya, and promise to never do it again. And this super duper club, we'll call it the League of Nations. Yeah, we'll promise to never do it again. So remember we talked about realpolitik and ideology versus practical plans. You can obviously see where Wilson is in terms of he's an idealist. He has great ideas and fantasy plans, and it's not very realistic. This idea that the countries are all going to hold hands and forgive each other after they've spent years killing each other, probably not going to happen. And he'll say that this plan and this war, the Great War, is the war to end war. It's not because we want to become stronger. We want to take over the world. The reason that this is all happening, we're going to get involved. America's going to step in, save the day, and we'll make sure that it never happens again. Anyone buying that? No one buying that. So war to end wars. We're going to spread democracy. After this riveting speech and these 14-point plans, the people of America said, Nah, we're good. We know that it's pretty bad over there, man. I don't know about you, Wilson, but we know with those trenches and the tanks and the machine guns, and have you seen the gas? They're actually using gas in this war. It's crazy. Barbed wire. There's people are getting their faces blown off. We're good. Only 73,000 people signed up. They did not want to fight this war. Again, going back to the idea of we. There really wasn't much of the we. The people did not want involved in this war. Well, too bad. The government creates a draft and conscripts everyone into the war. So, oh, guess what? Oh, you didn't want to sign up? Well, you're going anyway. The master class has always declared the wars. The subject class has always fought the battles. Eugene Debs, interesting character. We'll talk about him in the next video, but for now, going to jail. What do you mean going to jail? You're going to send him in jail because he's against war? Pretty much. Yes, that's right. Can't speak bad about the war during the war, or they will throw you in jail. And you're probably saying, whoa, times were crazy back then. Times are crazy now. This law is still on the books, and they can still do it. I wouldn't be surprised. Someone knocking at my door. Looks like it's the cops throwing me in jail for speaking poorly of the country. Yeah, this video, they're going to use this video as the evidence for why they'll use the Espionage Act on me. Anyway, describe how the war can help the economy. We talked about that in the first video. The banks made money. The people selling weapons made money. And that's not just World War I. That's World War. Every war, we make money. Someone's making money off of the wars. It's great for the economy, for some people in the economy. And defend, criticize the U.S. government's reluctance to join the World War I. So it looks like we were reluctant because we didn't immediately jump into the war, but you knew all along that they were going to jump into the war. And you can tell me if you really think the Lusitania was enough of a reason, or the 4 people dying in the Sussex enough of a reason, or the telegram is enough of a reason, that's fine. Those are all reasons you can say, I think it's enough. Or you can also say that, man, that stuff seems like it's awfully manipulated and it doesn't seem honest enough to send millions of Americans into a very deadly war that really doesn't have a purpose. We're not killing a dictator. We're not killing a terrible person. I mean, what did the Germans do that was so bad other than try to blow up ships that were starving them to death? This is not Hitler. This is not a terrible person. They were just following the rules of war, and we wanted to go hang out in a war zone. And then the 14 points, which we just went over, just be able to know some of those, like get rid of the alliances, get rid of the trade barriers, create the League of Nations, stop with the militarism. I mean, they all seem like great ideas in a fantasy. When are we ever going to get rid of all the weapons? You think that's really going to happen? Oh, we're going to convince people. The funny thing is, we're going to get rid of these alliances while creating the biggest alliance of all time. That doesn't make any sense, Wilson. All right, thanks, guys.